everyone, and welcome back to Unedited Chatter with Stephanie and Tisha.
Unedited Chatter drops new episodes every other Wednesday. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as the socials listed in the show notes. This show is an independent production. The views expressed here are our own and not those of our professional roles or employers. This is our Unedited Chatter. Let's get to it. Today, we are so excited to have our friend Dr. Dusty Clark with us. Dr. Clark is a retired teacher with 34 plus years experience in education at the elementary level and 18 years at the collegiate level. Currently, she serves as an education consultant for the Professional Association of GA Educators. She travels to various school districts to speak about legal representation, scholarships, professional development, and teacher growth opportunities for teachers who are page members. When not consulting or teaching, Dr. Clark and her husband film travel destinations. That's a whole nother conversation we'll have to tips, tricks, and videos for their YouTube channel titled The Traveling Clarks-Unpacked. So while as exciting as that sounds, Dusty, welcome. We are going to talk to you today about education.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Her and I have already chatted about the traveling thing because she knows that I love to travel. So she's got some cool videos up I've already watched. But
Thank
Dusty,
you so much.
the reason that you're here is because you and I have chatted a few times about something that you do in your classroom and something that you've been doing for years, which was new to me, but other people have heard of that is awesome. And as soon as you taught me about it, I jumped off and I went over and took the test, but it's called personality colors. And I want to know about it, why you use it, why you think it's important for teachers, and just give somebody some ideas of maybe why they should do it.
Okay, so many years ago, probably after I'd been teaching about 5 or 6 years, I was asked to get my gifted certification because the administrator that I was working for at the time enjoyed how I worked with the gifted students, and I'm academically gifted. And so she signed me up for this course. I took it, got my gifted certification. And one of the things that we talked about in that certification period was personality colors. And I had never heard of it before, too. I had always heard of multiple intelligences or Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that kind of thing. But I had never heard of personality colors. So one of the first things that we did is the instructor had everybody take the test. And of course, I was not surprised to find out that I am solid gold, solid gold, with a little bit of blue, absolutely no orange and no green. It was almost across the board solid gold. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought, well, what's orange and what's green? What's blue and what's gold? So I started doing more research, digging into it. And I found out that everything about the gold person was me to a T. If you're a list person, I'm that person that goes to the grocery store. If I buy crackers and it's not on my list, I write down crackers and mark it off. That's me. And, we like structure and order, organization. We've got a trip coming up. I have the whole itinerary already out. I just like to know what we're doing so we can maximize our time while on vacation. And that's a gold person. Blues are more so your empaths. Is that you? You're blue. Okay. Most teachers are blue. And I had a little bit of blue, but when I became a coordinator and director, that fit my personality a whole lot more, gold, than it did blue. But of course, you still have that caring nature as a teacher. You care about the kids and stuff like that. But your greens, they're always asking why. Why do I need to do this? Why? But why? Why? And everything is why. And so they're just really curious. They're really into technology and how something comes apart, the synthesis and the analysis and the putting it all back together, take it apart. But those are your greens. And then you have your comedians who are orange. I'm a very serious person. I don't have a streak of orange in me anywhere. So you just think of your comedians. They are fly by the seat of your pants kind of people. And they just do things on a whim. But once you learn the colors and can talk to your kids for your students for a little bit, you'll know immediately within the first 2 or 3 sentences what their personality color is. And it absolutely changed the way that I taught. I never had behavior issues. I never had communication issues with my students or the teachers that I worked with because I could identify what color they were right off the bat. And I knew how to deal with that person.
So I got to jump in for just a second while she's on that stuff. I'm sorry, because you did your husband too.
I did.
And you think it's really important to know their color. I have not got my husband to do it just yet because he's gone a lot. But after you told me that, I was like, I'm going to make him do this test too.
It
And
helped me
so
understand him so much better. Yes, and you get, if you dig deeper into the research on it, you find out why they do what they do and why they act the way they act. And then you can justify it a little bit better instead of saying, "Are you crazy?" or, something along those lines. But once you understand the depthness of each color, you understand so much better.
sorry, Steph.
No, no, no. I love this. So I have so many questions. So these colors, we have these types of personality that fit within those four colors. So a classroom teacher assesses her children. Let's choose educators for the sake of this podcast. Assesses her children, figures out where they're at. You're a blue. I'm a blue. Tisha's a gold. You're a gold also. So we have these diverse classes with all these different colors. You talked a little bit about it, but tell me more about the actual process of meeting those color needs in the classroom and how a teacher or educator can go about that.
So about over half of your students will be blue. And then you have your gifted students who are almost all gold. Almost every one of them are gold. So they're going to be the rule followers. They're going to be organized. And sometimes your blues will fall in line with the golds. But sometimes you need to put blues with blues and golds with golds, but the golds will try to kill each other, while they're at the table trying to take over. But the blues, they're empaths. And so they're people pleasers and they're teacher pleasers and they want to do everything right. While the golds are like, no, it's got to be this way. It's got to be this way, So I try to mix. If there's enough students who identifies different colors, I try to have in my small group instruction, depending on the data drives instruction always. But if there are multiple colors, I will put one of each color in a group together. It really helps each other. They help each other a lot more than you would think because the orange is not going to take it too serious. The green is going to ask why. The blue is going to be the helper and the gold is going to keep everybody on track. So if you have
So
one of each color in the small groups,
I
they're
love it.
going to manifest themselves.
Steph, it's so funny because you and
I know exactly where you're going.
I'm not saying that every single thing was gold, but like Steph and I ran this conference forever and we would just like this because I'm like, I'm not changing my mind. This is the way it is. And then we would get off the phone and have to be apart for a couple of days. And my husband's like, she's got some good ideas. And so I finally would come around and I'd be like, okay, I agree with you. You've got some good ideas. But yes, like I'm gold through and through with that.
And I think when I think back to a lot of the projects that we do, a lot of the time we need each other. So I need her gold traits and she probably needs my blue traits. And we tap
Yes.
into people with some green. And then, I can think of a green that we were just talking about earlier that he helps us a ton, so I see all of these being just a real good conglomerate of pieces that can work together when they recognize those strengths in each other. And
Yes.
no, not, and Dusty, how do we do that with children? Do we talk about these colors? Do we tell them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, when I first started teaching gifted, it would be my icebreaker with the first day of school. We would talk about, okay, so I want to know what color you are. And, you'd say, well, I'm white. And then someone would say, well, I'm black. No, baby, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to know what color you are up here so I know how better to help you. So, of course, there would be a way that you could modify the assessment to get them to understand what words you got to put in elementary terms because the quiz that I have up online is, of course, geared towards adult language. So you just kind of modify it a little bit so they can understand the language better. And you can talk to them literally for 5 minutes and you'll know exactly. You just got to ask them a couple of questions. Do you like projects? No. Okay. So they're not gold. Gold people like projects. So yeah, the blue people, do you like to help people? Yeah. Okay. You're my blues. You're going to stay over here. Do you like to understand how technology works? No. Okay. So you're not green. And the class clown always shows up. So that's the orange. You're always going to know who the oranges are. But so just doing a little mini assessment with them will help you identify them. And I usually had that done on the first day. But as a gifted teacher, I would have the same kids from kindergarten to fifth grade. So I knew them forwards and backwards and what color they were. And it's really funny because sometimes they would go from a blue to a gold. By the time they got from kindergarten to fifth grade, they would change. So when you get to understand and know the characteristics of each child, you know better how to change how you instruct them based on their needs because they will tell you. Their personality will tell you what they need.
So, did you explain this to the families and the parents that you did this and how and why?
Yeah, I was in that particular position for about 15 years. So I had multiple children year after year, and all the parents knew when we would have gifted conferences or with parents, and they would come in, or if I went with the classroom teacher, because I worked in a resource model where we actually pull the kids out of the classroom and they go with me to a different classroom. When I would meet with the parents for the parent teacher conference, I would always be in there with them, showing them work and how I assess them, how their data helps me drive their instruction, and it went from there. So, and they would even start talking about it too. And I had a little girl one time tell me she had a blue friend and she wanted.
Love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is really, really neat. Okay, so as we wrap up, I just want to tell everybody that the links will be in your show notes. I will make sure that I add all of those that you share in your classrooms so that people can use those. And everyone needs to go test their husbands or their significant others, right?
Yes,
So that we all know what.
absolutely. It will change your life. It will change your instructional methodology. It will change your synergy. Everything will be simpatico once you get it down. And it's not hard. It just takes a little work with it, but it's amazing. It really changed my teaching.
Well, Dusty, thank you so much for being here today. This was awesome. And I
Thank
knew
you.
it was going to be. I was so excited
Well,
when you
thank
said
you
that
for
you'd come
having
in.
me. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Bye.